allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so the first thing we have on our agenda is the approval of minutes from September 10th, public and non-public. Someone like to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve the minutes of September 10th, both public and non-public.
And second? Don with a second. All right, any discussion or anything that needed to be updated?
I don't have anything.
I didn't flag anything either. Okay. All right, all in favor of approving the minutes of September 10th, public and non-public, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And against? One left, or abstaining, we can 21 left, so motion passes. Public comment. We have no public here right now, but of course, this will come back to us at the end of the meeting.
Tim just confirmed that Brewster is not feeling well and will not be here tonight.
Okay. Thank you, Tim. All right. Co-curricular activities. I actually was not able to attend that one. Amanda, you and Steve held down the fort. Was there anything in the minutes that you, in the draft subcommittee minutes to share?
Yeah, you do have the draft minutes there. And Steve basically gave an update on numbers of athletes that we have participating in fall sports. He's also looked into participation for co-curricular clubs here. He did not have those numbers at this time, but he has asked the advisors to provide them. And I know that there is always a push for us to get some student involvement, and we were supposed to have a student from the SALT team, student athlete leadership team, and he had football practice, so that made it a little tricky, so he would not be doing that. But Steve did want to also celebrate the fact that Jacob Reno was chosen to be part of the NHIAA leadership team. It's an application process, and Jacob was selected. There are two other candidates that we had put forward, and we're waiting to hear if they'll be selected also. But at this time, we are at least sending one person to the leadership team for NHIAA.
Yeah. Okay. The next meeting is November 14th, so hopefully we'll hear some more about how the fall season wrapped up and other club activities, and maybe also something from IRS. Any questions about co-curricular? Okay. Moving on is Budget Committee. Budget Committee, Tim is our school board representative for that. You've got the draft minutes of the first meeting, which was the organizational meeting that happened last week, Monday the 16th of September. Are there any questions or anything? Okay. Looks like the next meeting is
To the 10/7.
okay. All right, and that'll be both of the elementary school budgets.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. And those, of course, are the ones that we can go to learn firsthand about the conversations that are happening at the Budget Committee. Okay. Next is Wellness Committee. You've got the draft meeting minutes in your packet. A couple of things that wanted to mention. There's food pantry updates, including there's discussion about there are some snack drives that are happening right now to help fill the food pantries, especially here within the school district. So you'll notice New Hampshire Tackles Hunger is going on this week in conjunction with homecoming activities, and also some of our fall sports teams are going to some of the different schools to kind of hype that up with elementary schools and things like that. There will be Thanksgiving food boxes that program will continue. One thing that is different this year is that the food bank could not guarantee turkeys or gift cards, And so Friends of Pascoma will be giving out $25 gift cards to families picking up the boxes so that they can purchase a turkey or whatever protein, ham, whatever that they would like for their meal. There'll be some students that will be helping to put together those boxes. They'll be available before Thanksgiving. Lindsay Parika will be the school contact for those. So there's information about that. The food service update Anton gave, you can see that on here. It's got some numbers related to meals and breakfasts and lunch. Both breakfasts and lunches are above this point last year. Breakfast after the bell started earlier this year as compared to last year. So he mentioned that is likely something that contributed to that. IRS and the high school have the highest outstanding debt for school lunches, already above $1,600 a few weeks into the school year. So just something to be looking out for. Unfortunately, we did not qualify for fresh fruits and vegetable program at EVS because we didn't have enough free and reduced meal numbers, but it will start on October 1st at IRS and CES. We also talked about some equipment related stuff. Composting is happening here on site, and Rick and Anton have been kind of shepherding that process. And EVS collects food scraps, so they also have a version of composting. Their other sort of reminders were about the wellness fair, which is that happening this week?
I believe it happened yesterday.
Okay. Yeah, so that is, it was for students, so I'm sure that we'll have an update at our next meeting about that, and hear about that. And we did have a discussion about free reduced meal applications.
Actually, it was today, sorry.
It was today, okay.
Yeah, it was today.
And Upper Valley Altogether provided Vaping 101 presentation. I don't know how many were here in person, but it was live streamed. I didn't check to see what the views were on that, but it is a resource that's available.
We only had, I think, one family in attendance here.
Okay.
A few teachers showed up in one family.
Okay, all right, well, we're trying.
Yeah.
We're putting the information out there, and people say they're interested in this topic, so we're putting together the programming, working with our community partners to do that, and so it's there. People want to watch it. So our next meeting is going to be on January 15th. Any questions about any of that stuff? Okay. Great, we're chugging right along. Educational Issues Committee. Yeah.
Oh, Kathleen, no, you were
Dawn.
Dawn.
Here.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah.
Finally made it.
Anything that you want to highlight in the minutes?
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I have the minutes in front of me. It was a lot of observation for me, being my first. I got a nice synopsis of what Title I is and some sort of introductory stuff that is probably good for somebody on a learning curve here. But April, I believe, is new to that committee as well, and so we talked about a little bit about the valedictorian, salutatory, and policy, and how everybody sort of wanted a little bit more time to review that.
Great.
And yeah, so I was glad to be my first meeting. Good.
Excellent, thank you. And I'm glad that the conversation about academic honors, class ranking, valedictorian, salutatorian, I'm glad that's happening now as opposed to like second semester of high school when it kind of comes down to the wire. Because would this be something, even if a policy has changed, would it need to wait until the following academic year because of being in the academic handbook?
I would not advise implementing it immediately.
Yeah. But just good to have the conversation and get them out of the way. That committee meets again on October 17th. All right, superintendent's report.
So you'll see in my written report that Butler's has hired a new driver. I don't believe that person has started yet. And when we are able to onboard that person, we will be able to split up the Canaan Elementary School routes, right? Those are two very long routes. Our elementary school kids are on the bus for almost an hour and a half. So, you know, getting this person in will help to alleviate some of those long bus rides. However, I'm not sure, I do see my report says it should start on the 8th. I am not sure, or you'll see a route on the 8th. I am not sure that you'll have those new routes then. Things have kind of taken, when I spoke with Steve, we thought we were going to be able to implement this more quickly than we are able to. So there's been some stalling in the hiring of the driver. So it's going to take a little more time for us to get the person on the road, but we'll make sure that we do it slow and steady, because I know it will impact some parents' work schedules, right? Like parents right now count on a certain time that their kid gets off the bus. I don't want to change that, you know, with 24 hours notice. I want to change that with a month's notice so that parents are able to make the adjustments to their work schedule if they need to. So, because it could impact kids, we're not sure right now what the impact might be. It could be, you know, 15 or 20 minutes, and that's a drive from Lebanon to some parts in Canaan. So that will be a slow and steady. So unfortunately, you see, I tried to give a great timeline there. That timeline has unfortunately been changed in the last few days. You'll also see that I've included the little homecoming flyer. I wanted that to go out in case people wanted to attend any of the games on Saturday or the bonfire on Friday night. And one, it seems like we've had a lot of former teachers pass, and we did lose Chris Rose, who was a kindergarten teacher at PBS for quite a long time. And as always, we are grateful for all the care she provided for our kids.
Any questions for Amanda or follow-up to these items? Okay. I hope that it's a lively and enjoyable homecoming for
Maybe this will get covered later. When do we get our student representative?
Oh, great question. So they voted this week. Lily Gunnarsson will be our rep, and she will start on the meeting of the 8th. And Emily Brewster will be the alternate.
Okay.
So we have a person, and we have a rep and an alternate.
Nice.
So yeah,
And are they both juniors?
both seniors.
Both seniors.
Both are seniors.
All right. Well,
Hey,
it's okay.
okay.
It's okay.
I thought we had a sophomore.
A kid grow up so
I
fast.
know.
I'll grow up too fast.
I thought we had a sophomore that was interested, but I think he might wait until next year. So
Gotcha.
he'll be a junior, and we'll get 2 years out of him.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. All right. Good question. Thank you, Don, for asking that. Okay. Business administrators report.
Okay, so in the packet tonight, I have bids for pellets, oil, propane, and copier paper. So we will be looking at those and approving those tonight. I also included the DOE 25 and the MS 25, which I finally completed. So we can get those signed off and turned in. This week, Amanda and I are going to be meeting with IRS principal to go over salary, do our first meeting for FY26 budgets, and we're also going to meet with EVS and CES on our second meeting. So we're making progress with the elementary schools, with that meeting on the 7th is coming up quickly. Other than that, I've just been working on budget stuff and turning in those reports and learning as much as I can.
Okay. Great. Be interesting for the sports staff negotiation coming up. So at some point, will be time at the October 8th meeting for a non.
Yeah, we can do a non-meeting after. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Great. Okay. Bus route update, we kind of already talked about.
Yeah.
So it's just a standing
Yeah, it's a
item.
standing item just in case we have any route changes that need to be approved, but we do not have any this time.
Okay. Next, in continuing business, we have the field trips. We've got the updated list from EVS and the high school, and entertain a motion to approve these lists. And we can have any discussion after the motion.
So we can group them together.
Yeah, I think we can group them together.
So I'll make a motion to approve the field trips for school year 24-25 from Enfield Village School and the high school.
I second.
Great, thank you. All right, so these look like they're in the kind of format that we had expected. So thank you to the principals for adding those additional details as requested. Were there any questions from anyone when you looked at these? All right, we did a lot of discussion at our last meeting about these, so I don't feel the need to really go much further into detail. So, all in favor of approving the field trip forms 2024-2025 for Enfield Village School and the high school, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays? And abstain. Motion passes. All right, so now we're moving into the new business. Do we need separate motions for the MS25 and DOE 25? Or can we?
I would
Okay.
ask that you do two separate
Okay.
motions for those, if you don't mind.
All right, so if someone would like to.
So I'll make a motion to start with the MS25.
And do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion about this form? This is the one that the MS25 was, this one, that's the vertical one, the vertical cover sheet. Anything in particular we need to know about any of these? That it stands out or is different or was particularly ornery?
Not that I can think of.
All right.
I don't think there's anything too different from last year.
Did Deb point, Michelle did meet with Deb.
Yep.
Did she point out anything that you should know? Probably not necessarily.
Yeah, I don't think she
Okay.
said anything that I can't think of anything that was something that would stick out.
Okay. Well, if there's no questions, we'll go ahead and vote. So on favor of approving the MS25 as submitted, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And abstain. All right, so
And is there a signature sheet?
there is a signature sheet.
circulating?
Yep. One question I had is that it says school board chairperson. Do you want me to sign there? Do you need to get it in right now before Tim is back? Or do you want me to just go ahead and sign under the regular school board line?
Question. I could probably get Tim to come in. I mean, it's due.
I forget when he's back in town. So I have the original with a cover sheet for us to sign.
I don't know when Tim comes back.
I'm asking Tim right now.
Okay, all right. What I'll do is I'll pass it around and I will be last so that I can accommodate whichever line.
Yeah, Tim says he's back Friday night.
Okay,
So when do you need to, we do have an extension on
Right.
this. When is that extension over?
Monday, the 30th.
Monday.
all right. Well, you can just tell me what line to sign on and when it comes back around, I will sign on that line.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I mean, she's in capacity as the chair right now, so it would be
I would say
fine.
go.
Okay, all right, so you can get it in.
I would like to turn it in this week.
Have it back close to the wire. That makes sense. That makes sense. All right, so while that's coming back around, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the DOE 25. Thank you.
So I'll make a motion to approve the form DOE 25
I
for
second.
the year ending June 30th, 24.
I second.
All right, And any questions or concerns or anything we need Michelle for on this form? Okay, well, hearing none.
Thank you.
Hearing none, all in favor of approving the DOE 25 for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024, as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And oppose? And abstain. It passes unanimously. So I have, again, another form. And does this one have the same deadline? So,
Oh, yeah.
okay, yeah. Thank you. Pass that around. Okay, now we have a number of bids for us to take a look at. First one up is pellet bids for 400 tons.
Would you like a motion?
Yes, please.
So I'll move to approve the pellet bids proposal for the years 24, 25 as presented.
Second?
And that's to lime green.
You guys need to name out loud.
Yeah, lime green heat
Lime green.
in the amount of $126,000.
Was that the recommendation?
They're the only,
Nobody else did.
Okay.
So there's no response or
so
just
there
no
was a
bid?
response from the Sandra and Sandra Energy,
Okay.
Lime Heat,
Okay, and
Market Pellet Division.
we usually have lime heat, right?
Yes.
Yes, lime green was provided.
Okay,
Now it is something that's above our budgeted amount, so
I
that's,
went with the tons that was
yeah.
put in the bid for last year. We didn't end up using all of those
Okay.
tons, so my guess is we will not go over the budget, but that is what we asked for based on Dan Ivy's recommendation as well.
Okay. All right. Any other conversation? We don't really have much flexibility in this one.
I did.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, all in favor of awarding the pellet bid for 24-25 to Lime Green Heat in the amount of $126,000? I'll signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And abstain? Okay, Lime Green Heat. You got our pellets.
okay, so, ready for the propane?
Yeah, propane.
I'll make a motion to approve the propane bid for 24, 25. And, do we want to discuss this first, or are we gonna go with the recommendation of the business administrator?
Actually, if you want to include the recommendation in the motion, and then we can discuss it and.
Okay,
see,
so I
yeah.
will include the recommendation of the business administrator.
Second.
And again, that was for Irving Energy and the, for the total amount of $7,686.
Right.
Right? Okay, so it looks like we've got two bids to consider for propane. And again, they're above our budget.
Above our budget, but Irving had the lower cost and they're who we currently.
Okay.
And does the contract have a deadline?
Yes, I will, it does.
Yes.
11:59.
Great, okay.
Yes, that would be why Michelle's sitting here with her computer ready to respond to those bids. As opposed to the last time, Kathleen, we got
Right.
burned on this
Yeah.
one, you're correct.
Credit to Michelle,
Yay. Excellent.
She's
All right.
on the spot.
Yes. Any other conversation or discussion about our propane bids? Okay, all in favor of awarding our 24-25 propane bid to Irving Energy in the amount of $7,686, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay, you have it. Next up is fuel oil.
Well, so I'll make a motion to approve the fuel oil bid for the year 24-25 as presented.
Second?
So that
So
would be
it looks like we're going with Irving.
Irving Energy in the amount of $30,663.
Oh, there's a win. That one's under budget.
Right.
Yay! Kind of evens out a little bit,
A
right?
little bit.
Okay, same two there, so that's not surprising. Alright. Any questions for Michelle on this one? Okay, all in favor of awarding the fuel oil bid for 24-25 to Irving Energy in the amount of $30,663, by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. Irving Energy has won our fuel oil business for another year. And last of our bids here.
And a
Yes.
copier paper. It's a big figure here, both of them, they're very close. So I'll make a motion to approve the copier paper bids for 24-25, and I'm assuming we're going with the lower bid of WB Mason.
That is my
Second?
All right, so these were closer to each other.
Mhm.
So WB Mason, the amount of $20,141 was the low bid. Again, a little bit above our budget, but that seems to be what.
Are these over because of like inflation? Like they're just like kind of on par with last year and the cost is just higher than we
The
were?
cost is a lot higher than
Yeah.
last year,
Yeah.
for case.
Have we accounted for inflation in our budget?
Not this much.
So this is really,
And this is, what we'll do, looking at the difference in what the budget has compared to what the cost will be, is we will encourage the schools to be more paperless if possible, right? So we will encourage that, so hopefully we won't use that full $20,000.
And of course, the tough thing is, we're essentially budgeting our stuff 18 months ahead of time, and so
Yeah, you just.
trying to predict the future. I wish we all had our little fortune teller hats on that we could figure some of this stuff out. All right, so if there's no other discussion, go ahead and I'll call for copier paper bid for 2024-2025 to award that bid to WB Mason in the amount of $20,141. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And oppose? And abstain. Motion passes. WB Mason, copy paper extraordinaire. The LAU plan. I had to figure out what LAU was. I have to. I had to say, thankfully, it was right there on the first page. But this sounds like something that is required by law for us to have.
You are correct.
Okay.
So this was something that came up in the audit that was done by the New Hampshire Department of Education. This plan has been missing, and it is specific to our ESOL, English speakers of other languages, ESL, our kids that English comes as their second language. So this plan is specific to them, and it does help with our compliance. So we do need the board to approve this. I need a motion and to have it approved so that we can add it to our ESOL section on our website. This is a part of our corrective action plan in order to be in compliance. So that's why you're seeing it. This plan is modeled after a few different plans from different school districts in the state that we collaborated with. Angel did start it, April did finish it. So you're looking at the finished product that has gone through many, many revisions.
Do we have a policy that relates to this?
I do believe that you will see such a policy coming up later, because we were also missing that. If it's not here today, it's coming at you another time. But you're right. Thank you, Kathleen. Yep.
All right, we'll entertain a motion for approval of the LAU
So
plan.
I'll make a motion to approve the LAU plan as presented, dated with September 24, 24.
I second.
Any other questions or conversation? Is this something that we'll have to review annually, or?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think as long as we have it in place, we're all set. I don't believe there's an annual provision to approving it.
Excellent. All right, all in favor of, I'm sorry, did I cut off any other questions? No? Okay, good. All right, so all in favor of approving the LAU plan as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And oppose and abstain. So approved. All right, now we've got everyone's favorite policy. We have, we can batch them together. There's the first bunch are here for second reading and adoption.
Can I start there?
Yeah, sure.
So I'll make a motion to approve policy CB-R, CF, CFB, CFB-R for second reading.
And then second?
Second.
Okay. I don't think were there any updates that we had made on this? I don't think so.
I don't see any changes to CB since we reviewed it at first reading. No changes to CBR-R. CF, we did change the she, he to they,
Okay, yep.
and the his, her to their.
Okay.
CFB, we did not have any changes.
Okay.
And do I do CBFR?
And CBFR, yep, that also fits.
Okay. And that I do believe there were no changes to also confirmed. No changes.
All right. Any other questions or comments about that batch? Okay. All in favor of approving for second reading and adoption, policy CB, school superintendent, policy CB-R, duties of the superintendent, policy CF, school building administration, policy CFB, building principal evaluation, and policy CFB-R, principal supervision and annual evaluation. Approve, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And oppose and abstain. Unanimously passed. All right. We, I think, can go ahead and with the rescissions as the next block because we have approved those administration type evaluation policies just now. That's the first one on the bottom of that page, and then next bit there.
So we are going to rescind, let's see. Okay, a motion to rescind policy CFA-FA, Office of the Superintendent of Schools Administrator Assessment. And then policy CFA-FC, Principal Self-Evaluation Form. Policy CFB-FA, Office of the Superintendent of Schools Faculty Assessment Hub. Policy CFB-FB, Principal Self-Evaluation Form. Policy CFC, Evaluation of the Assistant Principal. Policy CFCF-FA, Self-Evaluation Assistant Principal. And policy CGDA-FC, Director of Special Education, Self-Evaluation.
Second.
Thank you. Okay. Doubt we have any real questions about these policies that are dated, some of which from the 90s.
Wow.
So, Yep.
Back
Ready
in
for the
before I was in high school.
revisions, right? Okay, all in favor of rescinding policies CFA-FA, policy CFA-FC, policy CFB-FA, policy CFB-FB, policy CFC, policy CFC-FA, and policy CGDA-FC. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And abstained. All right, we've rescinded those old policies. Getting our housekeeping done. All right. There's two to notice in this next little batch that we don't want to include because they're rescissions, but all of the ones that say first reading, I believe we could go ahead and batch together. If someone would like to take a stab at that.
So I will make a motion to approve policy CA, administration goals for first reading. Policy CM, school district annual report, first reading. Policy ACN, accommodation of lactation needs, first reading. Policy GB, AM, accommodation of pregnancy and related medical conditions, personnel, first reading. Policy IHB, CA, accommodation of pregnancy and related medical conditions, students, first reading. Policy JLDBB, suicide prevention and response plan, first reading.
A second.
Okay. Amanda, do you want to take us through
I sure do.
these?
So we have these batched in two sections, sort of. They can all go for first reading at the same time, which is absolutely fine. But you'll see that ACN is where we start with some Title IX issues, so I will talk more specifically to those as we get there. The first policy, CA, there was only one major change to this from the School Board Association, and that change is moving it from the recommended category, from required by law to recommended. So this is no longer required by law, it is only a recommended policy. So that is the only change to administration goals that you will see. The next policy is CM, and here's where we get a little messy, so follow along carefully in case I get lost. So on CM, the School Board Association currently has CM titled as School District Annual Report.
Okay.
Our CM is currently School District Year-End Report. Okay? So my suggestion on this was changing the name of our CM to School District Annual Report. And our CM language is exactly the CM language in the School Board Association's policy. So this one is really just a policy change.
Or a title change?
Title change,
Yeah.
thank you, yes,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
title change. But in doing so, it allows us to rescind policy CE. Nope, CMF, Michelle's on it with me. CMF, which is School District Annual Report. So that can totally go away. It will be covered in the CM that we retitle. Michelle,
All right.
any questions on that one?
Well, that makes sense.
Okay, good. And here we are back on ACN. You will remember ACN because we talked about this quite a bit about a year ago.
Yeah.
And it was nursing mothers, it was nursing parents, it was all those kind of things in the title. I wish that they had just written accommodation of lactation needs to start with, because that sort of sums it up.
Yeah.
So on this one, you will see the change in title, and it talks about the fact the only change to this one is that I believe it says that we have to have it in the handbook. Yeah, so and it might update a little bit more to the new Title IX regulations, but what we've done is take the exact policy as suggested from the School Board Association and adopted that.
So it's really that, is it section G, the dissemination of policy that says it'll be
Yes.
put in the
Yeah.
handbooks? Okay.
Yeah, that is correct.
Yep, that makes sense.
Nice new title on that. Then we move on to GBAM, and that is accommodation of pregnancy and related medical conditions for personnel. This is a new policy as written by the School Board Association. It is recommended by them, and it does fit into the Title IX. So my suggestion is to adopt it as presented here, as written by the School Board Association. Then you will see policy IHBCA, accommodation of pregnancy and related medical conditions for students. So what you've seen is really a split, right? So you have a split between staff and then pregnant students, so different accommodations there. There are some pretty strong protections around pregnant students, and our Title IX officer really has to adhere to them and make sure that if a student reaches out, that we are providing those supports, and that if, it also provides that student with the fact that if they disclose to an adult here in the building, a staff member, that staff member must get them in touch with or provide contact information for the Title IX person so that Title IX person can help them. So, this one is, you can see the difference between our IHBCA, which is from 2016, is our current policy, so this is a very nice update. And once again, we've just taken the language from the School Board Association.
Not directly related to this, but are there times when we don't take the recommended School Board Association?
Sometimes, like, we'll adjust certain policies to fit our needs better, and we've actually written some policies too, but they often go through a vetting process from the school.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like they're usually pretty safe. I just didn't know if there were scenarios.
That's
that,
how I feel about John. I'm like,
there's probably a lot of people that put a mind into this. So.
Yeah, and they know the laws certainly better than I do,
Right.
so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And most often, my recommendation is, if they say to update it to that, we update it to that.
Yeah, I'd say that the thing most often that we see is just updating where it's like the generic, the school district or the school board to say Mascoma Valley Regional School District or school board.
Thank you.
And occasionally there's like little things from our old policies that I think make sense
Yeah.
that we keep or find a way.
Yeah, EIC is often the place where I'll take policies that I feel like we really need to have a robust kind of subcommittee review of those. And I think Kathleen and Hope and who else was on the EIC when we did the library policy updates. We had some robust conversation in that meeting, that EIC meeting.
What time frame was that?
That was the spring. The library materials one, we had like 30 policies. It was really only needed to be one. But we did pull pieces from those different policies that we had and incorporated them. So that does happen, but I tend to do that in a subcommittee. Finance and facilities will also see some subcommittee work. But these I just tend to, some of these straightforward ones I send out to the work group.
Okay.
So they can have some input on those.
All right, and the last one, JLDEB.
So you'll see that we last did this one in 22, so it's not that old of a policy, but there was an update that requires us to put the phone number for the suicide prevention hotline and also for the eating disorders helpline on the back of all student IDs. So that is what the major change or major addition to this policy was.
And that's just in line with one of the more recent past statutes.
Yep. Yeah, the eating disorder is a requirement this year. The suicide prevention was in '23. So we were adhering to the law, it just wasn't in the policy, so this is in addition to the policy.
All right, any other questions or discussion? This is for this batch of policies for first reading. Okay, all in favor of policy CA, administration goals, policy CM, school district annual report, policy ACN, accommodation of lactation needs, policy GBAM, accommodation of pregnancy and related medical conditions personnel, policy IHBCA, accommodation of pregnancy and related medical conditions students, and policy JLDBB, suicide prevention and response plan. All in favor, signify, for first reading, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? And we pass all of these. Okay. We are making good time here, guys. All right, agenda items for next meeting. We've got committee reports, SB2 timeline, and October 1st enrollment figures.
And we'll have student rep by then.
Yes, we will have student rep.
Yep, student rep. So we'll get that back onto the agenda under continuing business. SBA delegate assembly. We should get that on there so that we can just have any, just because I forget if, I think that's probably the last meeting before
It's coming up,
that
yes.
meeting, yeah, because they've been sending out the materials. So we'll just add that on, that would be great. Anything else? Okay. We still have no public here for public comment, so guessing we're good for now, or you would have heard from them already, Amanda. All right, we've got the green sheet that we can do, personnel designations and nominations. If someone wanted to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the nominations and notifications as submitted for September 24, 2024.
I second.
Thank you. Any, this looks like a renewal, so anything new we need to know about?
No, this is a grant-funded position. It was a 2-year grant. So Ashley runs the robotic groups from here in collaboration with the Hartford School District. And she will be once again running, I believe it's the Lego League. They use the Lego League to run a robotics program out of EVS. So this is the second year of a 2-year grant.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion? Okay. All in favor of approving the staff nomination as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? All right. Welcome Ashley Cole-Henry back as robotics coach at EVS. And it looks like we do have reasons for non-public.
Yes, for bee hiring.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to go into non-public for the purpose of rehiring.
Second?
Okay. I say yes to me.
Yes.